This story just leaked out early this week. There have been negotiations going on almost nonstop for the last 6 months. No progress at all. The golfers on both sides are really frustrated. Some of them are really fed up. The Saudi Public Investment Fund, which is negotiating to become partners with the PGA Tour, at the end of last week, made a $1.5 billion cash offer to become an equity partner with the PGA, but they demanded the right to operate the tournaments in Europe and around the globe with their own type of format, the team play format. The PGA flat out rejected it. The PGA's opinion, the initial structure of what they had agreed upon early on, was that the PGA would run all the tournaments in terms of the format, stroke play, medal play, etc. We weren't going to go to team play that LIV was trying to pitch. We weren't going to do anything different to, quote, change the game. LIV would market it globally, would take part in some unique events, maybe that would include the LPGA, but they would not change 4 rounds. They would not change the field. You'd have to play to make a cut, etc. LIV at the last minute, after making the $1.5 billion offer, said, we want to change it. We got to play our rules. PGA also responded, your guys just can't show up and play here when they want to play here. There are a number of tournaments they are required to play, and your guys have to play the same number of tournaments that the guys who stayed behind here in the States are playing. LIV is against that. They want to be able to have their guys go play some other exhibitions, if you will. And still unresolved player penalties. And the PGA players are almost to a man standing up and saying, John, these guys violated their tour card when they jumped, and we're not going to let them come back without some form of payment, aka penalty. This thing seems to almost be going in the wrong direction. So the Saudis made a $1.5 billion offer. I was told it was made last Friday. I was told it was rejected on Monday. This thing is farther away from being settled than it is closer to being settled, even though obviously some LIV guys who've qualified for the Masters are playing at Augusta this weekend. Ugly story. I mean, TV ratings just continue to tank. Nobody's watching LIV. PGA ratings have had a bit of a bump because some of the younger guys are starting to draw attention, but it's not like it used to be. And all the big names that have gone abroad disappeared off the radar screen. John, your response?
Okay, this is dumb. What they're doing is dumb. I, as a golf fan, I don't have a problem with them playing some team play in Europe and Asia and mixing it up. Gives me a little variety of what to watch. And these players should have the liberty to go play in some exhibitions. I think the PGA is in grudge mode here, and they're just sticking their heels in the sand, and they're doing it at their own expense. They're harming their own product. This seems like a very reasonable compromise. Plus, they'd be getting $1.5 billion. I mean, what's the problem here?
Well, I think one of the big problems is if they're mandating Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy have to play 19 stops on the PGA Tour, 19 different tournaments, and then of course you got the Grand Slam events, etc. They want these players on this tour to make a commitment to play at San Diego, to play at Torrey Pines, to go play at Firestone, go play Greensboro. They don't want to just show up in the big money events, take the money, and then run back to Saudi Arabia or Europe, where these guys are playing right now. That's why they're mandating that everybody's going to operate under the same rules. You can't pick and choose where you're playing. That's a big issue. The other thing is, I have not met a golf fan, and I kind of cross paths with people from all different interests, John. I've not met a golf fan who has watched LIV very much or thinks team play carries any merit. The reality is we grew up in the era of 4 rounds, and we grew up in the era of 18 holes per day, and there's a cut after Friday, and they don't want to see anything radically different. And nobody can identify with team play whatsoever because it doesn't carry any legacy to it. And a response?
I don't have a problem with team play. I think it's fine. I mean, granted, I do appreciate and I prefer the medal play as the primary, but if they mixed in some team play, that's not a problem. And by the way, do any other sports like, let's say, tennis or NASCAR or F1, do they mandate that their athletes attend all the medium and small tournaments too?
Well, be able to get qualified in points, you got to play in a whole bunch of tournaments. You got to run a whole bunch of NASCAR races to be in the championship at the end of the year. So yeah, there is you got to compete to be able to rack up points. It's just not a payday and show up. So that's the other problem. The LIV, these guys get a payday. Whether they finish first or they finish 35th, they get a big payday. And there is no cut in the LIV. PGA wants to make this thing fiercely competitive. They don't want to go against the grain of the way golf has been established, dating back to Byron Nelson and Bobby Jones back in the day. And you want to change it? Come on, Riley.
They're so conservative. They're just too conservative.
I forgot you're doing the show from left field. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, granted, that was one of the things. I mean, imagine if you're a professional golfer and you live, I don't know, let's say you live in North Carolina and you come out to San Diego to play at Torrey Pines and you don't make the cut. I don't think you make any money. And I think it's reasonable for these guys to pursue financial interests, so I don't have a problem with them picking and choosing which tournament to go to. I think this PGA guys are just stuck in like an old 1950s mindset.
Okay, I'm just going to pose this for people who like golf, love golf, play golf, watch golf. Fans Forum chat box is open. Just go to the bottom of the screen, give us an opinion. Are you going to stand with him in left field and say, let's just change everything about golf? Or are you standing with me as the co-host of this podcast that the PGA is correct? This thing has worked for a long, long time, and we're not going to change what made Jack Nicklaus and Arnie Palmer great just so we can have Saudi Arabian money. So you can cast your opinion right now. Fans Forum chat box. You siding with Hacksaw in studio in Virginia or John broadcasting from left field. Okay, we go from that. John,